So you're planning on going on vacation, but you don't want to break the bank.
Mm.
Well, this video is going to be for you. This is exactly what you've been looking for. We're going to show you how you can budget, give you some tips and thoughts of our own and our experience of how you can budget for a vacation without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and get into it.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting to spend it and be broke again.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want to build up all this hope and expectation that you're going to go on this trip just to realize that you can't afford it. I mean, that's a huge bummer. I mean, you get all the way there, you're like, actually, I don't even think I can afford the plane ticket, let alone the hotel, the food, all this stuff. I mean, there's a ton that goes into, affording a vacation. So we're going to give you some
to be
tips.
honest, what most people would do is go anyways and just put it on the credit card and then dig themselves a hole.
Yeah.
So we're not only going to avoid breaking the bank, but we're going to also avoid that money pit, that hole, and we're going to make sure we're not like ending up like everyone else.
So you've answered some of your biggest questions about where and when. Now you just have to answer what a lot of people don't consider the big question, but is probably the most important, is how are you going to be able to afford it? How much are you allowing yourself to spend? So once you've kind of done some preliminary research, which is your first step, get an idea of what this is going to cost. Because let's say you want to go to Paris this time next year, and it's going to cost you, based on your research, roughly $2,000. Well, now you know how much you need to save up to that point. And it's going to be like $167 a month, $39 a week, something like that. That way you're going to be able to afford this. So this is something you're going to need to start planning for way in advance. You can't just get to the vacation and be like, okay, I'll wing it when I get there, or I'm going to put this all on my credit card. That's horrible. You're digging yourself in that hole that Ryan mentioned.
Exactly. So like Taylor said, you've probably already done a lot of that research because you've decided on a place you want to go. So you're going to probably have seen 50 TikToks or however you got this idea to go to Paris or Ireland or wherever right now I keep hearing Iceland. So if you're going to Iceland, you've probably seen people talk about, and it was only $1,200, $1,800. So you have some form of an idea, and now you're setting yourself that goal of how much am I allowing myself to spend? And that other question, since you've picked a date, or if you haven't picked a date, how long do I have to save that amount of money before I go on that vacation?
So you know how much you need to save. Now, how are you going to save it? So we have plenty of videos on budgeting and saving tips and everything.
Go check those out.
Oh yeah, for sure. But a quick synopsis of that is, you're going to have to maybe cut back a little bit on some of this superfluous spending. Maybe when you go out, instead of getting, a $4 or $5 Coke, you get a water.
Yeah.
It's just these small things that really do build up. In your head, you're like, it's just a couple bucks here. Those, a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. At the end of it, you're looking back and you're like, oh my gosh, I spent way more money than I needed to.
Or honestly, like most people say, eat out less, cut subscriptions, all of that stuff to save money. But there is no like, I'm saving money just to save money. There's no big thing at the end. But in this case, if you did go out less, then you're saving for a big item to go on this big extravagant vacation. So you still are getting rewarded. You can see the direct relation of why you're cutting those subscriptions or eating out less. So maybe you could just save a few bucks, or you could save a lot by just making more meals at home for a couple of months or a whole year, however long you have to save. But so yeah, that in itself, you can see the end result. So it's that much more worth it and that much more motivating.
Yeah, and hey, maybe you'll form some good habits along the way, some good saving habits, and boom,
come back.
Now you can afford your next vacation even sooner.
True.
And a great way to kind of keep track of this and maybe keep it a little more fun and interesting is there are a lot of apps and like services out there that'll help you track this, help you, kind of keep track of your goals and reach those goals.
Yeah.
There are apps like Capital, Digit, EveryDollar, Acorns. Then there are other accounts like Ally Bank, Capital One 360, and Chime. There are all these, resources that you have at your disposal to help you along the way. So there's really no excuse. It takes a lot of motivation and dedication, but, there aren't really too many excuses on why you can't get there, because it is possible and necessary, really, to, have a joyful vacation and return home and still have a smile on your face.
That's right. You don't want to get home and be like, man, I kind of regret that great vacation I just went on, because now look at all I have to do. But the next step, now that you've already figured out where you're going, maybe you haven't booked your flight necessarily, or you haven't booked your hotels, more than likely you haven't, then you're going to go to that next, I guess, third step, and that's going to be you're going to compare and then book. So you're going to compare your prices. Roughly your target. You're still saving towards that goal, but you're going to start looking at flights. When is the best time? Okay, good. It works in my time frame that I wanted, because usually you'll give yourself a few months or a few weeks to choose from. Flights are cheap. I'll check Google Flights. That'll help out. I'll check Expedia for hotels. What hotels are big? Maybe you'll stay in a hostel, save a little bit of money.
Hey, there you
We've
go.
done that cool experience. So that's definitely an option. You're going to want to go on these websites and apps. And again,
Yeah, look for promos. I mean, there's
exactly.
sometimes some special offers out there.
Exactly. So
You.
work smarter, not harder. Compare those prices. You don't want to overspend and go, oh, I'm only a month out, but now I've stretched it over my budget and I've overspent and I haven't even gone yet. That's not a good sign already. So that is definitely something that's going to help you figure out, do I need to move my marker? Am I right on line? Can I get those numbers below like everybody was saying?
Yeah.
So
you'll have to keep an eye on
exactly.
things. Yeah, and kind of keeping along that same thought of, keeping track of everything, go ahead and if you're going to book a flight, say through Delta or Southwest or something, go ahead and join their program and everything. Automatically, you might get some discounts just for being a member of their program. On top of that, travel credit cards, they add some added benefits, or maybe you'll get some cash back. So you may not necessarily directly save, but you'll get some money back, and that can help you in your savings. Now, some of them do, some are like, oh, through our travel portal, you get these certain discounts and everything. So kind of look around, like Ryan was saying, and, take advantage of any rewards programs. Travel credit cards have a lot of added benefits. Actually joining whoever you're going to be traveling with, their little member program, can oftentimes save you. Or even if it doesn't, hey, you'll get some points and it'll help you save for your next vacation.
We're already thinking that far ahead. Yeah, and a slightly better experience oftentimes they'll offer you, even if you're not, because most of them are free, or 99% of them that I've seen are free. If they're not free, I will not be joining, because all the other ones are. But yeah, a lot of times you'll get a little bit better perk, or you'll get, again, at worst case scenario, points towards your next vacation without even having to apply for a card. So that works out well. So these are just some of the quick tips and ways you can save money or help yourself stay motivated towards that savings goal before you go on vacation. But now we're on vacation. Let's put ourselves in that place, that Ireland, that Iceland, or wherever you're traveling.
Aloha, oi.
And then we're going to be on vacation. We're going to track our spending, because it's very easy. You don't want to be money conscious the whole time. You want to enjoy your vacation. But at the same time, if you just check in every once in a while and say, okay, so far I've spent $1,000. I know I only have $2,000 to spend, and I'm only one day in. That's not a good sign. You're going to want to slow your roll just a little bit.
Or it can really help, because let's say, you're ordering menus at the bar or something, they don't have prices on. And you're like, okay, you go back and maybe you check that night. You're like, oh my gosh, those drinks are actually $30 each. I'm just not going to drink at that bar again, or at least not that drink.
Or I'm not going to get a drink the next night. Something small. You don't have to completely change your vacation. Just be conscious of it, because again, if you just keep spending, and you didn't set a big enough goal, you can easily blow through that goal. So you could also build in a buffer before you go. That's going to be another good tip. But just make sure to track it, because if you're tracking it, you'll know where you're at along the progress. I'm halfway through my budget. I'm halfway through my vacation. Everything lines up. I'm going to keep going exactly as is. Or you get to the end, you're like, I have a lot of money left over. It was so much cheaper than I thought. Let me get a couple of souvenirs. That's also a cool thing.
All out on you last night.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just checking in. Again, you're not keeping a notebook at every. I just bought a drink for $25.67. You don't have to go that extreme, but there are some people who do take it to those extremes. But if you're just checking in, like, okay, let me check my account real quick. Okay, that's roughly what I thought I was spending. I'm still on track. At least some degree you do need to check, because I've been hit with some expenses before that I wasn't expecting, like like a room service charge that I wasn't expecting, or it was the wrong charge. Like they charged me for something I didn't even do. I'm like, I never drink out of the hotel mini bar. Why would you ever? There's a 0% chance that was me. So, every once in a while, just checking in. Great tip.
Yeah. And a lot of times, again, these apps, they'll cover it for you. So they'll keep you track. A lot of times you can even link your bank account. I'm not super comfortable with that, but if you are, you can link it and it'll say, okay, drinks. It'll put it in the drinks category, and you'll know exactly how much you have left to spend in each category.
And you can set it up to alarm you when you reach a certain level.
That's true. That's true. So a lot of these apps are great for vacation and tracking these things. You should have a budget and track your whole life. But vacation is another big one that you can really get into a hole. Start trying to help out.
So yeah, guys, that's just kind of a quick outline of how we do our own budgeting for vacations and everything. Now, if you want some more travel tips, let's say, or like advice on how you can actually save, because that's a whole nother story right there. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can save if you haven't already decided on where you're going, when you're going, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. We had fun making it. We have fun doing vacations, so budgeting, is a part of that. So having some enjoyment in that, using some of these apps can really help out.
Yeah, and everybody thinks budgeting's boring for the most part, but when it comes to travel, everybody's excited. So when you talk about vacation and travel, that's where you can kind of blend the two. You can be like, okay, I see why budgeting's important. and I'll do it to be able to do my vacation.
Yeah.
And we can find a common ground there.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
so we hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have any comments, please let us know in the comments. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. We look forward to hearing from you guys as always, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. See you guys next time.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting to spend it and be broke again.